Well, today's very exciting because normally I'm staring at the camera talking by myself about estate planning tips. But today I have a very special friend as a guest, Kirk Brown, the CEO of Handy, a nonprofit organization in Fort Lauderdale that means the world to me. And Kirk, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me here today.
Why don't you tell everyone what Handy is?
Oh, what Handy is, that's a wonderfully loaded question. It's hope for young people that have um, very little happening in their lives. That's against all odds. It's hope, and it's also building visions and dreams for them in the community for them to move forward. But Handy was founded in 1985 by guardian ad litems who saw that young people that went through issues of abuse, homelessness, needed some normalcy in their life. And since 1985, the organization has made intentional moves as a nonprofit to really provide young people with 57 services under 5 pillars: workforce development, education, affordable housing, mental health services, and youth development, but most of all, hugs, caring, compassionate, lived experience people, working with almost 500 young people every year towards achieving their dreams in life.
Now, that's excellent. And how many kids are served right now?
Right now, 619 young people with
Amazing.
a direct case management services from 52 individuals in our community, a total of 1,200 people in total. Because when we help our young people with housing situations, which we average 2 to 3 homeless families a week, we're helping the entire family, not just the youth.
And that's such a key thing about Handy. Is one of the things that drew me into Handy years ago is that it is a family. We're not focused on one issue and thinking that we put a Band-Aid on one problem and it fixes everything. So the person doesn't have a home, okay, let's get them a roof. Or the person is failing out of school, let's get them tutoring. Handy is a surrogate family for these kids that don't really have any other family to turn to. And I think that's always been what brought me into Handy and made me so passionate about the cause. And I think that's why we've thrived so much recently, especially in the community. And why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the amazing growth that Handy's had over the last couple of years?
So in 2002, Handy decided that providing emergency needs services was not enough. Those are one-time stop services of assisting someone to say, avoid homelessness by paying their first, last, and security to move them into an apartment. But in 2002, we decided that we have to impact change on a journey spectrum with the families that we serve. And so in 2002, we started our case management programs. And our case management programs sought to take middle school, high school, and post-secondary young people throughout the entire journey to then launch them into the workforce. So programmatically, it has grown abundantly since 2002. Physically, as an organization, the organization have gone from existing in a 2,000 square foot building to existing in a 5,000 square foot building to then moving on to a 17,000 square foot building with our young people in it and more programs to now a 40,000 square foot building at the old Moss headquarters location. Our programs have gone from having 6 programs to now 19 different programs.
It's such an important thing. I'll tell you, these kids grew up, these young people grew up with no stability, very little stability, if any. And we, as an organization, we're always moving in different directions. And right now, I am the board chair of Handy, and it was my number one goal to make sure that we could give these kids some stability. And we were, so fortunate to have the Moss Foundation and the Moss family support us for all these years. But you did an amazing job securing this building and giving these kids a home, a permanent home, someplace that they can find stability. So now their surrogate family, which is Handy, has a permanent home.
And it's a permanent home that is designed for them, right? And so social services as an industry itself, sometimes it's like taking a circle and putting it into a square. Handy does the reverse of that, right? And you heard earlier that our growth in programs have gone up to 19 programs because when a young person walks in our doors, we need to be the environment in which they fit. in which they belong. Like most parents, if you have a household and your child is not feeling like they belong there, you change the environment of that household. And so what we have done is that we have designed most of our agency around our young people, because at the end of the day, they are our customers. And at the end of the day, they're the reason why we show up. And we show up in style because we have to. We have to show them that there's a greater purpose and a greater light that they're here to achieve.
And the results speak for themselves, because what's been happening, I mean, obviously this segment of the population nationwide, the graduation rate from high school is only 3%. But at Handy, the kids that go through Handy, 87% graduate high school and go on to some sort of advanced education, right?
So for Handy, over the past 15 years, 95% of our young people have graduated high school. 90% of those young people have gone on to post-secondary. And 78% of those young people have completed the post-secondary journey, because in middle school, in high school, and even while they're in the post-secondary journey, we're exposing them to 7 different industries every single year. High demand industries where everyone listening and watching, you're a part of these industries, right? Construction, manufacturing, hospitality. You're either in the industry or experiencing the industry if you're in South Florida. And so it's deliberate and it's intentional to show our young people the workforce, but also build a bridge between what's in their communities and the community that also cares about them.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember hearing a story of one of the first breakfasts, because we do a scholars breakfast to honor all the kids that have gone through and graduated from a high school or college or whatever it may be that year. And I remember hearing one of the speakers who was an alumnus that came back, and the story was basically paraphrased as, okay, I was 5 years old. My mom was dead. My dad was in jail. My brother tried to sell me into prostitution. There were bullets grazing past my head. And by the way, this is not an episode of The Wire. This is in Fort Lauderdale. And but then I found Handy, and now I own my own business. And I'm like, whoa, what happened in between? That's why I would say Handy's the yada, yada, yada organization. You yada, yada, yada over the best part. Handy being that surrogate family, allowing all of those programs to be available to those kids, teaching them to interview, teaching how to tie a tie. Not that either one of us wears tie, but teaching them, anything from who to stay with, who not to stay with. If you can't change those around you, you got to change those around you. Doing the right things, even as simple as, when I went to college, my parents drove me up to Gainesville. Mm-hmm. We went to Target. We bought the shower curtains. We bought the bed sheets. They stayed the night at a hotel. They left the next morning, kissed me on the forehead. They're gone. But they made sure I was there, secure. They took me on the tours, the orientations. These kids don't have that.
We do that.
Handy.
That's our place to do that. And it's also our place to be excited to see them.
Yeah.
So much get lost in what we mean by normalcy, right? After a full day at middle school, you get home, someone opens the door and they're smiling and they're happy to see you. That's called a home, right? Yeah. At Handy, we're excited to see our kids every day. And it shows, right? And so that excitement adds to their sense of belonging. That makes them push through college algebra when they get there, right? It makes them push through, but we also drop them off to the college. We also stay during the orientation. We also complain about the college room and the cost of the college room. But like most parents, but we're there for when 3 months later, when they've avoided you for 3 months, like most freshmen do, when they call and say, I think I should come home. We're like, no, you're not. Right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about why you have that feeling. Let's talk you through why your purpose is bigger than what you're experiencing right now, so they could stay the course. Because also we have to also consider who we're serving. They have so many mixed messages that they have received from their existence, their community, and their surroundings that tells them you're not worthy. Mm-hmm. And Handy is a place where our young people fit, and we're excited to see them. And every day we let them know that they're worthy.
And sometimes I love that you brought up the staying in school, because I know you have some great stories that like you pretty much start every board meeting by telling us about some kid that you had to show tough love to, because they don't have that at home. They're not getting that, hey, the advice that my father gave me, that, hey, be a person, go to that thing, do that thing, finish your work on time, show up, be available, be responsible. you have to do that.
So, and most interestingly, recent, we had to do that with one of our alumni, right? He is the one in his household. He's the first one out. He's the first generation scholar. He's the first one to attend college. He's the first one to have a professional job. And recently they experienced a loss in the family. And it became even more apparent to him that I'm the one who have to make this plan for my family now. So when he sought guidance, we're like, you're going to stand in the paint, right? You're going to keep calm. You're going to lead your family. Here's how you lead your family through chaos. Here's how you practice proper wealth management, proper financial planning while you're going through this chaos. Here's how you monitor your emotions, because you are the leader of your family. So those are intangible skills that we feed into our young people every day, that is also requested of us every day, to really have that conversation with our young people. And he went through the tragedy, and he's now in grief therapy, and he's now still a high performer on his job. It didn't crash his existence. It didn't crash his future. It didn't stop him from moving forward. And without having those pieces in your life, without having knowledge on how to navigate that area of life, you will not be able to transition to your highest potential.
And, I can tell that they appreciate it, because the one thing that if anyone visits the Handy home, on the Andrews Ave north of Sunrise, if you visit there, you're going to find a lot of alumni there. Yep. You're going to think they work there. You're going to think, because there's a lot of alumni that do work there and get paid to work there. And there's a lot of alumni that just won't go away. Yeah, they keep showing up. That's the amazing thing, is because that's another thing about the community being served as a whole. When you think about it across the United States, if you're lucky enough to get out, you don't go back. You don't go back. You go and you move on. This community doesn't do that. I remember kid Ernst back in the day that he came because he wanted to be a lawyer. Now, he came and visited with me, and he spoke with me about, he wanted to get tips on, like, what should I do in law school? Like, how do I get a job afterwards? Things like that. I was happy to talk to him. While I was talking to him, I found out that he was going to law school at Florida State University while sleeping in his car. And all he wanted to do was become a public defender and help people like himself. It's amazing the amount of effort that these kids put in to become what the rest of the world told them they couldn't become. And so everything that Handy's doing, from the support as a surrogate family, from the tough love, from the structure that's being given, it's really working. It's the biggest impact is not necessarily just that we save this one kid, that we give them an opportunity to thrive, but rather they come back and then help 10 more.
Yeah. It's the equation of who will we be next as a civilization, right? Who will we be? Who are we now? And how do we invest in that person that 25 years from now, you have stopped a generation that 2 generations existed in poverty, crime, and abuse before this child was here. And now this child is here, and you have to equip this child to be a giant, right? Because they have some mountains in life that they will have to step over. And in doing so, explaining to them that they're the one, and having them own it and own the power that's in that, it's remarkable, because we witness miracles every day at Handy. We love this. Our young people show up like how your kids show up. When you thought they moved out, they come back. And it is a beautiful thing to see a sergeant in the military walk through the door. Right? It's beautiful to see a police officer walk through the door. It's beautiful to see a doctor, an attorney, a kid who just started his fencing company came in last week. So I started my fencing company. What do I need to do on the accounting side?
Yeah.
Right. It's beautiful to see that, but it's also beautiful to see them turn to the middle school student that is still in the program and charge them on keeping the brand going. They say things like, you belong to Handy. You're Handy. Look what I did with it. You better make sure when people see you, they see Handy. So it's not necessarily a program to them. It's like a great rite of passage for them. And they own the brand and they own the situation, which for us speaks volumes, because you go from a generational poverty spectrum to a sense of pride and belonging in society.
Yeah, it's exponential. I mean, when they come back and talk to them, they first of all, they have the gravitas, and they've been through it. They know exactly what's going on, what the kids are going through. It's different if I come in there and say, "Oh, I'm the board chair here. Let me tell you what you're supposed to do in life." It's different when these kids come back as alumni. It's the amount of impact that's made. And you know what I find with a lot of nonprofits that serve children, you go to any random group of these children being served, you say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" "I want to be an NBA player. I want to be an NFL player." Never hear that, Andy.
That's the bottom on the list because bones break.
Yeah.
Right. And so, no offense to anyone who does it.
Yeah.
But for our young people, it's about them being able to see themselves, even if they're an athlete. How are you going to own the two?
Mhm.
That's where we bring it, right? For our young people who want to major in cosmetology, okay, so you're going to be a hairdresser, open your own salon. And we have a community of support that is that large. We've been doing this since 1985 in the same community. It's homegrown, Broward County. And so we have been able to have the grandparent that was involved with Handy. Now the son is involved with Handy as a community supporter. And so we've had the longevity of proving that we care about the community and the kids in the community.
And the community, that's such a big thing, because I always tell people, when you're considering, there's a lot of nonprofits, obviously. I say, think selfish. Think selfish. Because obviously, Handy is a great cause. The kids are being helped. And, we take someone who maybe didn't have a chance, and we give them not just an opportunity, but we give them the opportunity to thrive, not just survive. But if you live in Broward County or South Florida as a whole, when you're giving to a nonprofit like Handy, you're making your own backyard a better place. You're making your house a better place. You're making your community a better place. So you should do what's best for you, not just what's best for the kids. Giving to Handy, supporting Handy, and making sure that we can serve even more children is what's best for our entire community in South Florida.
So what was interesting, I heard a conversation this morning about return on investment, right? And while they were talking about what's the ROI on this thing, I kept thinking, when you invest in a child that was abused, neglected, abandoned, but has the grit that still say education and workforce and excellence is what I am going to seek after, you're literally investing in the future of your own community being greater than it is today. Because if you can take that individual from that level and invest in that cause, society has one choice but to go up.
Exactly. And, for those people that are watching this and want to learn more about Handy, obviously, you can go to handyinc.org. But also, there are ways to give. There are ways that are fun to give, like you could sponsor one of our events like Moonrise, which is in February, which is a mix of Burning Man meets Met Gala. It's a lot of fun, always fun costumes, great group for a great cause, great fun. The Scholars Breakfast, which is another one. And then there are opportunities to actually volunteer at things like Field Day with the kids. And we have the best, which is we have a home. We have a home that has rooms and signs and places to put your name. And there's the opportunity for sponsorship and naming rights in the building.
Yes, and places to put your name and your purpose. It's about being present in an environment where every corporation that walks through will see your name, but it will also see your purpose. Because Handy is an environment built on purpose. And when you really think about all of the things that you can do as a person, you have your time, your talent, your treasure. I mentioned all of the industries that we expose our young people to. You could come in, you could volunteer, you could tell them about your industry that you're in, how you made it into your industry, how they can make it into your industry. Yes, they're middle school and high school students, so they're going to ask you very blunt, straight questions. The first question you're going to get is, how much do you make?
Yeah.
So let's just get that out of the way. But it's a place to put your name and your purpose. Because if I walk into that building that serves those individuals and I see your name, then I know your purpose.
Absolutely. And I have named the elevators in the Handy building. In both elevators, you'll see a plaque that says WFP Law, Michael D. Wild Esquire, for all of your ups and downs. So that is, if you go visit the Handy building, you will see both a plaque in each elevator that says that. I was happy to do so. I would be remiss, because I am an estate planning attorney, to not also mention that people can leave a legacy by naming Handy as a benefactor of a life insurance policy, a retirement account, in their will, in their trust. Always tax deductible when you give to a 501c3 like Handy, and you can build a legacy long after you're gone. So you can give while you're alive, give after you're gone, and make your impact in this community felt long after you've left us. Kirk, thank you so much for coming in today, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
My friend, my colleague, my partner in making this community a better place. Please do your research on Handy. You will not be disappointed. It is a fantastic organization. Kirk, thanks for coming in, buddy.
Thank you.
To follow up on that comment about giving and being selfish when you give, not just is it supporting your community, but you can support your own pocketbook. There's a lot of ways that you can give while you're alive and after you're gone. You can set up a charitable remainder trust or a charitable lead trust to get income tax benefits. You can set up a donor advised fund. You can create charitable annuities specifically or as broad as you want. You can give through foundations. You start a foundation. The ways in which you can give and still make a benefit to your own tax return, your own pocketbook, to your own bank account are limitless. And the ability to do good for the community while you're also doing well financially is something you shouldn't look past. So make sure that your estate plan has some type of planned giving, some type of legacy planning, some type of benefit that you're leaving to your family, not just making the community a better place, but maybe making their bank accounts a better place as well.